Chapter 376 Find the Right Time. On the black, hydroop knife. Suddenly, a raging flame burned. The blade flows rapidly. Directly control the two ribbons from the opposite side. All of them fell to the ground. Blood splattered. Hey, that stinky kid's sword technique has changed and seems to have become sharper than it has just now. And what the sound is, it's really annoying. A breathing sound. The fallen girl seemed to notice something. At this moment, he was interrupted by the sudden sound of breath in his mind. However, it was this extremely short moment of stunned silence. But it was created for Tanjiro, the sauceman. The best time to attack in the entire battle. Bang! Tanjiro Kaoru's feet were so hard that he tried to force his feet on the ground. The whole person's figure almost dives close to the ground. The black, hydroop knife, in the hand. Toward the Fulgami face who had not yet come back to his senses. Then he slashed heavily. Open black lens bracket God of Fire God of God, Yanwu close black lens bracket. The full moon-shaped fire from the top to the bottom is slashed down. Only the strength of the opposite duoji. But it is far beyond the imagination of Tanjiro Seigo. Even at such a critical moment of life and death. The fallen girl is also calm and unhurried. Lift your body back gently. Then he successfully avoided Tanjiro's fatal blow from Sauceman. But Yanwu's attack is not that simple. Yanwu belongs to second strike. Even if the first move is avoided. There is also another blow as a killer move. On the other side of the doji's face. A contemptuous sneer appeared. After avoiding the oncoming blow from Tanjiro Kawaman. He directly manipulated the two ribbons. From one left and one right directions. Attack the opposite Kawaman Tanjiro. She wants to make this hateful little devil. Thousands of corpses. Then go to find the whereabouts of those who make her irritable. Only. The attack from the left and right of the fallen girl. But he just lost. Tanjiro Kaoru. It actually flashed in front of her, the God of Fire and the God of God and the Fantasy Sun Rainbow. Quote. Tanjiro Sawaman decided to use high-speed torsion and cycling. Complete the dance of avoiding specialization. Simply put. The advantage of this trick is that the better the vision, the clearer the image will be captured. Thus, it is confused among the numerous residual images. Create a perfect moment for Tanjiro Kaoru to kill one blow. Sure enough. After the attack failed, Fulver stopped her attack for the time being. Instead, he kept catching Tanjiro, who was moving at high speed with his eyes. However, in an instant, the 4.70, who had already rushed to the middle of the air behind the Soji. Finally, the best time has arrived. Line of Flaw, also called Line of Void, appeared. Open black lens bracket God of Fire, Kagura, train close black lens bracket. On Tanjiro Kawaman's face. An irrepressible look of excitement was revealed. The enemy opposite. But even the pillar-level strongman. I will feel a headache, Windstring Ghost. Chapter 377 The speed is too slow. If Tanjiro Takaman could defeat this ghost alone. Then it proves that his current strength. It has reached the level of pillar. This is for Tanjiro Sauceman. But it's a big challenge. Only. When you think of your goals. But I have to compete with that guy Yu. Tanjiro's psychology. I immediately became full of energy. However, reality is always cruel. Even if the Tanjiro 26 uses high-speed movement. He came directly to the dead corner behind the doji. Even if he saw the line of flaw. Ready to take the knife. Cut off the other person's neck directly. But suddenly turned back. But his face still maintained the calm and cold look he had before. He even yawned with extreme contempt. Just in the sword of Tanjiro, who was entangled with flames. When it is about to be cut off. The fallen G turned his head with a very contemptuous expression. Said lightly. I'm really dying. Your speed is almost making me yawn. As the words fell. In midair. On the face of Tanjiro Kawaman who waved his knife down. He suddenly showed a look of disappointment. Because Just the moment when Duji spoke. What he had captured before. The flaw line that is enough to cut off the ghost's neck. It suddenly broke. This means that. Now even if he takes all his strength. It is also impossible to complete the most effective and deadly attack. Bang! Even if Tanjiro Kaoru made a temporary move in the air. And set a defensive posture in advance. But the ribbons that were still swept out by the fallen girl like mercury. It was blown away from afar. And on the ground. After rolling back 14 or 5 times in succession. Only then did the castration be stopped. Tanjiro still wanted to get up when he was in the sauna. Continue to fight with the fallen hero. But he was shocked to find out. My body has become extremely heavy. Even if you just want to stand up at this moment. All have become the biggest difficulty that hinders him at present. Damn it, is the side effects of using the continuous use of God of Fire God finally coming. The muscles meet or over-fatigue and become stiff. Although Tanjiro Kaoru's breathing is disordered at this moment. Action stagnated. But he was extremely calm inside. He kept telling himself. Be calm. No way. Who made this the side effect of using God of Fire one after another? The fatigue of not 330 stops saving. His muscles meet have become stiff. And now. Facing the fallen girl who slowly walked towards herself. Tanjiro Zaoman could only force himself to calm down faster. Now. He can only use the respiratory method continuously. To reconcile and alleviate the various sequelae of current pain. Oh, he's not dead yet. The slightly surprised voice of Duji came. But she. How could he give this hateful ugly guy in front of him? What about the opportunity to stand up again? Chapter 378 How to Compete with the Winding. Swish. Speed up under your feet. His body jumped forward directly. Then. The ribbons behind him turned into sharp blades like steel. He slashed heavily at Tanjiro, who was on the ground. Life and death juncture. Tanjiro Zaoman finally rushed to the second before the Fulkami killer touched him. Using respiratory method. Temporarily suppressed the fatigue of the whole body. Thus, when the fallen ribbon was blown down. He stood up again. And swung a knife to fight back. Bang bang bang. Bang bang bang. The blade collided violently with the ribbon. However. As the battle continues. But Tanjiro Zaoman became a little more and more difficult to resist. The ribbon released by the fallen girl. It's like an extremely tough sword. Even Tanjiro Kaoru can attack her. See line of flaw. But it will be cut off immediately. Because compared with the speed of the fallen girl. Tanjiro's speed. It's a slow batch. And. With the use of God of Fire. His body temperature. It also gradually began to rise. Accelerate and climb to another new stage. Because Tanjiro Kaoru can only make his body temperature higher. Only then can it exert greater power. Only. This means that. Those same actions. He now. Instead, it requires more energy to complete it. Turn out to be. A few days ago, I had a high fever and butterfly house. Let the stove door charcoal Jiro accidentally. I discovered a tip that can use God of Fire God. Increase body temperature. It seems to be equivalent to enhancing the power of God of Fire. To confirm the authenticity of this discovery, he refused medical staff's decoction treatment. And constantly explore Ken training. Although not yet achieved great success. But it also proves its authenticity. It seems now. His previous persistence. Perhaps it can really become the key point to turn the situation around today. I can feel my body temperature and the heat in my body are rising. As long as I persist, I can compete with the ghost of the winding. I can, God of Fire God has effect. But it's not enough to have the effect alone, I have to win the final victory. Even if you have to use all your strength, you must defeat that winding ghost. For the sake of protecting life. Strong. I will never let my life be ruthlessly taken away, and I will never let anyone fall into the same sadness as us. And I want to surpass you. Tanjiro Zaoman was gasping for breath. Keep suggesting yourself in your heart. At the moment of life and death, Tanjiro Zaoman burst out with an unprecedented powerful survival desire. He actually blocked the fatal attack like a storm of the Fulgami. Chapter 379 Discovering the Nest. It's not bad, you're more tenacious than I expected. I didn't expect you to be really interesting. A look of surprise appeared on Duji's face. But he still had a jokey smile. After all, even if the Kaoji of fire that Tanjiro just used by Zaoman, in her eyes, it's just a fun show that struggles to make a living. And Tanjiro, the opposite sauceman. After the body kept retreating. Start adjusting your breathing and rhythm again. Not far away. In the ribbon on the ground that he had cut off before. The figure of the carp and the courtesan. It is gradually recovering as before. Watch 690 to this scene. Unlimited fighting spirit suddenly emerged in Tanjiro Zaoman's heart. He never wants to let it go again. This unilateral evil deed of plundering life happened. He never wants to let anyone else. I have experienced such a tragic experience as his family. Go to die for me. Tanjiro Zaoman evaporates the water in his body. Hold the hydron knife tightly with both hands. He rushed forward. He took the initiative to launch a new round of offensive towards the opposite G. Haha, no matter how hard you, an ugly guy who looks, will be just a useless waste after all. Duoji said with disdainful expression on his face. For her. I don't believe that the little devil in front of me can become an existence that threatens her. However, just as the two of Duoheim and Tanjiro Sagaman started to fight fiercely again. The other side. In Ogimotoya Inosuke. New discoveries have also been made. Wow, ha ha ha, I am indeed a genius. I actually discovered the entrance to the nest of the ghost. The breath of ghost comes from inside. It turns out that I have the most sensitive sense of smell and can capture aura that no one else can detect. Inosuke looked at the ground. Under a large floor that was smashed. The deep hole and cave exposed. The face looked smug. Damn, ghost, please give me the rightful enlightenment. UK Inosuke yelled. Then he turned his head downward. He swooped directly towards the hole that was only the size of a head. Shui. Only. Because the hole. Shui is too narrow. His upper body. After getting in. He was completely unable to move at all. Damn, it seems that it's only enough to stuff your head in. Yuhei Inosuke stood up again. But on his face. But there was no look of discouragement at all. Because he is the dignified king of mountains and fields. Faced with this special situation. Of course there will be something different from ordinary people. An extraordinary solution. If you think this will stop me, that's too naive. This is useless to me, Mr. Inosuke. Chapter 380 The women locked in the ribbon. Because I am a man who can remove all the joints of my body with ease. That is to say, as long as my head can be stuffed in, my body will definitely be able to go in with you. No one of the bastards can stop me from moving forward. Click. 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 Then I saw that Inosuke actually put the joints on his arms. All removed. Then rely on the strength of your legs. He rushed straight into the hole. Shui. Relying on the peristaltic and motility of the muscles meet on the body. Start moving forward rapidly towards the depths of the hole. Shui. Not long. He came to the underground center. In that soccer field-sized hole. Shui. His figure suddenly emerged from the wall. Then restore all joints in the body. UK Inosuke began to carefully look at the large hole in this space. Shui. On the walls on all sides of the big hole. It is covered with dense holes of dozens or hundreds of holes of the same size. And in the center of the cave. But interweaving and hanging countless colorful ribbons. Above these ribbons. He also, embroidered, has a beautiful appearance. Image of a woman with eyes closed. These images look lifelike. It seems that all real people have been sealed into these dynasties. The whole hole. Shui. Looks like. Extremely incisive and terrifying. Only. These are for the wild teenager who grew up alone in the mountains and forests since childhood. But it's nothing at all. Only. He painted these ribbons with people's portraits. But I felt very confused. Human patterned ribbon. What the hell? No, this feels. These are living humans. Is it that ghost who locked all the women caught in these ribbons? And then let it go and eat it when you want to eat it? It's really cruel. The eyes swept. With the powerful five senses. Inosuke Hira noticed the people on these ribbons. It seems that they are all living humans. In his mind. I suddenly realized it. Yoshihara Flower Street. The mystery of the disappearance was revealed. 0. For a long time. All the fallen girls are using these underground passages. The geisha with good looks from the major travelers in Waji Street. They all caught it here and lifted them. Then. She can do it without the knowledge of God. When you want to eat people. Take it out as you wish desire and eat it. I have to say. This is really a very safe one. And a clever way. No wonder ghost killing team before this. I have never received any information about this ghost. Thinking of this. Even if I don't want to be a sensation. I have to sigh. The power of the Dragon Empire ruled by Yi Yu. Chapter 381 Ribbon Ghost. He is clearly in another world. But he can actually master the news that even the ghost-killing team doesn't know. This cruel and unjust picture in front of you. And the gloomy atmosphere. Even a reckless man like Hirai Inosuke. I couldn't help but feel my tongue. Suddenly. One picture is strange. Familiar. There is even a bit of annoying face. It suddenly appeared in his eyes. Huh, isn't this the idiot, Simon? What the hell is this idiot doing? Why did you run into the grain warehouse of Winning Ghost and fall asleep? After watching it. Suddenly, I found my wife, Sei, who was also sealed in the ribbon. However. Just think he draws the knife. When you are ready to cut off that broken belt. In the darkness behind him. A constantly floating ribbon slowly opened his mouth and spoke. Hey, bastard boy, what are you doing here? It's so dirty, it's so dirty. What a dirty idiot with such a dirty look. I saw a ribbon not far behind Inosuke. Two ferocious giant eyes grew. And a bloody mouth. At this moment, I was filled with resentment. Staring at the opposite side of Hope Inosuke. It looks like. It is the ghost that guards here. However. If it was someone else. I'm afraid I've been terrifying in front of me for a long time. I was so scared that I couldn't take care of myself. But the opposite side, Inosuke Isao, did not take these seriously at all. But the brain circuit is very strange. A strange thing in front of you. What kind of ghost earthworm is this? He looks so disgusting. Almost at the same time. The famous for its recklessness. The attack was launched without hesitation. And shouted. Twist and twist, you are such a disgusting earthworm belt. Ha 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 ha, it's just that you're too slow. You are greedy and swallowing so many people at your speed, but you can't catch me at all. Fat earthworms full of fat. You can't hurt me, Lord Inosuke, so you can hold your tail and roll it back. Come on after you practice. The two swords were swung out in the assistant of Izumi. Slash horizontally. While dodging the attack of the broken belt. He also cleverly avoided the women in the ribbon. And my wife. Cut off the ribbons that were dancing in the air 5.0. Damn it, when he cut, he cleverly avoided humans and released all the fresh ingredients I had worked hard to preserve. It's really damn. How did this hateful guy come here? He is obviously doing everything carefully. Chapter 382 Confrontation. This ribbon. In fact, it was formed by the use of virginity technique. The trace of consciousness of the fallen girl left inside. So have self-awareness. Stay here. Guarding the granary of the Fulgami. But even so. Compared to the ontology. The strength of this ribbon. It is also almost the same as Tanjiro Seigo and others. So. Its attack. Although it seems to be for the keen 5 sense Viagra Inosuke. Not very useful. But as time goes by, the winner is really hard to say. 26. Damn it, why does this guy have such a keen feeling? The ability to feel murderous intent is extraordinary. No matter where you attack from the front, back, left and right, even if you attack him from behind, you will be able to perceive and avoid it. Quote, the narrow hole I kept at the beginning was to prevent that ghost hunter from finding it here. But unexpectedly, I was successfully invaded by ghost hunter in the end. What should I do? Just when the ribbon is confused. Fully, who was fighting Tanjiro Zaoman on Wa Street, felt the strangeness in the granary. So use your mind directly. He informed his clone of the next action direction. This guy should be the pretty guy who ran out when I was catching him. Catch him. It was him who was hindering my actions before, but he was very beautiful. Those preserved humans can be killed except for the most beautiful 10 people. But if this guy catches him alive, it should be much harder than killing him directly. Then eat a few people and strengthen your body a little. The faraway girl proposed to let the ribbon. You can eat those geishas that are not very outstanding in appearance. In this way, enhance your strength. Then she captured her appearance alive and was more beautiful than her. After receiving instructions from the owner, the Saturn ghost was ready to launch a counterattack immediately. But the other side of the gaze is already at that moment. Rushed to it. The 2 swords in his hand suddenly slashed. However, with the twist of the ribbon, the double swords in the assistant of Inanna. This time, he failed to cut off the ribbon. The ribbon was first 330 and successfully bypassed the sharpness of the hydroop knife with excellent softness. Immediately afterwards, fearless risk of being killed. It actually followed the blade of hydroop knife. He wrapped his arms around Tohira Inosuke. Only. The 5 sensual and sensitive Gwai Inosuke captured its intention first. Just let go of your hands. Allow the 2 swords to fall down. At the same time, after successfully avoiding the fierce blow from the ribbon, Inosuke Yoshihira reached out to take the hands that fell from the air. Then he directly used the beast breath. Chapter 383 Earthworm Ribbon. Open black lens bracket beast breath, Lu teeth, random spike bite close black lens bracket. However, facing the attack of Inosuke, the ribbon ghost started to mock him without caring. It's useless for you to cut me down. Because I am not the original body, your attack is meaningless. But then again, would it be really good if you just put the humans that you finally saved? As long as I eat them, I will soon be able to recover from the damage you just caused. Facing the fierce attack from Inosuke Tokai, the ribbon ghost used the women who had just been rescued by Inosuke. Attempt to disrupt his attack rhythm. Several ribbons. From all directions, he rushed towards the women who had just returned to their human form on the ground. It is about distracting Hirai Inosuke. It turns out, this trick of it really worked. No matter how reckless Viagra Inosuke is. But I have also learned to care about these common people. Immediately. Cold sweat couldn't stop sliding down from his forehead. And he was in great trouble. At the moment. In the end, we should protect those people. Are you fighting this ghost? Or do you care about the people on the ground? However, just when I was watching Inosuke I felt a little bit of clone. When you were about to fall into tangle. Several knots. But he was one step ahead. It pierced directly the ribbons that pounced on the geishas. UK Inosuke quickly turned around and looked. It was the 2 ninja wives of Yuxi Tianyuan. Earthworm ribbon. Hey, boy, you really gave it a good name. Yes, it's a good name that makes people feel disgusting as soon as they hear it. The 2 of them held the kunai with zumai. Directly to those around. Again towards the ribbons that came towards them both. They all ran away. Stop them from continuing to absorb those on the ground. The woman who was just rescued. Boy Boar, don't worry, go and clean it up. Let us leave it here for the 2 of us to protect us. Said confidently. As the wife of Yuxi Tianyuan. They still have this strength. That's right, I'm going to sue Lord Tianyuan later. The somewhat introverted person spoke weakly. Hey, who are you 2? Brave. Inosuke Yuke looked at the two women in a daze. Hey, are you an idiot? We are Lord Tianyuan's wife. But you don't expect too much from us, because we are really not good at this kind of battle. Zumao said with a loud voice anxiously. Among Yuxi Tianyuan's 3 wives, she is the least courageous. Bang! A crisp sound. Chapter 384. The sound pillar is coming. I want to mourn, don't say such despicable words there. Yu scolded with an angry look on his face. But Sister Yu, you know that my strength is very bad, otherwise it wouldn't have been so easy before, and I was caught by this ghost. This kind of battle is really hard. How could I protect everyone who was caught? Zuma said with a grievance. I may be the first person to die here. You are right, it seems that you know the current situation very well. So, where should I go from now on? Start eating first. Quote. The tone of the ribbon ghost was extremely proud. 673. Looks like it didn't take Viagra and Inosuke seriously at all. Hey, you bastard, what do I mean by what you just said, that you are not the original body? If that's the case, wouldn't this be a waste of time when I fight you here? Yuke Inosuke shouted with an extremely unhappy look on his face. Open black lens bracket thunder breath, 1 type, thunder blink, 6th consecutive close black lens bracket. Just at the moment of conversation between the two, a figure as fast as lightning. He had already exploded and attacked with lightning speed. The one who takes action. Surely it is. Ever been swallowed by ribbons? Then my wife Shani fell asleep again. Bang bang bang. Bang bang bang. This scene. He was stunned by the ribbon ghost. Because he was from my wife, Simon. Feel a sensation. Totally different from before. It can even be said to be a completely opposite sharp aura. The speed is incredibly fast. You might as well keep falling asleep. Inosuke's performance on my wife, Isao, under this state. Obviously very satisfied. Hey, is that guy from Pig-Headed Boy also a member of the ghost-killing team? On one side, defended against the new ribbon. As he asked with confusion. But why did he mix it into such a weird look? Only. At this moment, a roar suddenly came from the top wall of the cave. Immediately afterwards, a figure fell from above. Wait for the smoke and dust to dissipate. 2 swords are crossed in front of you. The gorgeous appearance officially shows the truth. It is exactly sound pillar Yuxi Tianyuan. Hey, what exactly did this guy do to open the hole from the ground to here? The ribbon that was about to take action again. I was immediately shocked by the aura emitted from Yuxi Tianyuan. Because it feels it. The powerful aura on the other party. Only the pillar-level strong men in the ghost-killing team will have it. Only. Before it can react. The body of Yuxi Tianyuan opposite. It has turned into a phantom. From the entire cave space. Move back and forth. Chapter 385. New rules. Almost in the blink of an eye. Then cut off all the ribbons. The speed is so fast. It's dazzling. Ah, it's Lord Tianyuan who came to save us. The 2 women and Zumao saw this. Tears filled my eyes immediately. He stared blankly at the slowly standing figure opposite him. That handsome man. Isn't it their husband? It must be polished. Sorry, I'm late, but I feel relieved when I see you two so energetic. Next, let me use a gorgeous battle to avenge your 2 previous encounters. Yuxi Tianyuan said in an extremely gentle tone. However, the fierce momentum burst out from him. But like a wild beast. People accidentally. Then you will feel shivering. Sho was stunned. In her mind. Recalling the past without control. Although they are women. But in the concept of ninja. Previous and now. But it's completely different. Not to refuse death. It is the education that ninjas received since childhood. It's the most basic. It is also the most natural thing. Especially female ninjas. Because it is not as powerful as that of male members. So, even if it's a bet on life, they also have to complete the task. This is their minimum effort. However, until one day, the 3 of them, Meet Yuxi Tianyuan. And became his wife. This looks handsome. A gorgeously spoken man. A new concept was redeveloped for the three of them. You must put your life first, nothing else matters. First of all, you must be able to ensure that you can return to me alive. Open black lens bracket. Life is more important than mission. Close black lens bracket. After all, you three are ninjas. What I said may contradict the education you have received before, but everything is okay, and it's enough for me to allow it. Close black lens bracket. I now set you priority for life and missions in a gorgeous and clear manner. First of all, you three people, then ordinary humans, and then myself. Close black lens bracket. Although as a member of the ghost-killing team, we must naturally protect those leisurely and tacky ordinary people. 0. But to be gorgeous, I value you three most, so no matter who you three are, don't die. Close black lens bracket. In any case, I can't forget to be the three of them. The first time I heard you say this. What kind of expression was revealed on his face? Is this really good? If you give priority to saving your life, then we can't do a good job, right? Is this really okay? As ninjas, if we really do this, I'm afraid Lord Tianyuan will be implicated because of this, right? Chapter 386 Going to the Goal. I was a little worried about Yuxi Tianyuan's words. However, Huimu and Hinahe. But he has a completely different idea than that. In the eyes of both of them. Since Yuxi Tianyuan said so. I just really don't want the three of them to die. The idea of fear of death. It's not a bad thing. No matter what others think. What others say. As long as they can accept it. That should be okay, right? Not to mention. The three of them should care more about. Isn't it that Yuxi Tianyuan who hopes they can save their lives? Thoughts and this. Whether it is. Still in the eyes that need to be polished. All of them were filled with crystal tears. I have to say. It is precisely because of Yuxi Tianyuan's permission. And meticulous care for the three of them. The three of them. Only then can you survive fortunately. This kind of kindness. This love. I'm afraid it has surpassed life and death. Yuxi Tianyuan stretched out his big hand very domineeringly. On the heads of the two women. He patted it lightly. Then. He praised without hesitation. You two have performed very well just now, and they are really worthy of being my wife. I also had a gorgeous fight before I arrived. Okay, let me go gorgeously next. However. At this moment. A warm conversation between the three. But I was watched by the rough voice of Inasuke. It was interrupted directly. Hey, the god of tribute, the earthworm ribbons have all scattered and escaped from the cave. Are you still talking about those useless things? It's so noisy. Yuxi Tianyuan's arrogant attribute suddenly exploded. He shouted angrily. It would be great to save all the arrested people, right? Shouldn't you praise me first and then say this nonsense? I will get rid of that winding ghost very gorgeously, you idiot pig head. And at this moment. The two of you who were beside you. They also spoke. Sir Tianyuan, if you don't catch up quickly, others will probably be affected. Yes, Lord Tianyuan also asks you to deal with that powerful, winding ghost, right? Yuxi Tianyuan naturally knew very well in his heart. This matter is urgent. So he shouted at the opposite side of Hope Inasuke. Idiots, we're going to chase you. Come with me quickly. As soon as the words fell. Yuxi Tianyuan's body. In an instant, he rushed out of the hole. Then at a very fast speed. Running away on the roof. After the two of Hinasuke and my wife Samono come back to their senses. Then he jumped out quickly. Follow Yuxi Tianyuan closely. Chapter 387, Strength is enhanced. Only. The speed of Inasuke and my wife Samono. It is obviously much slower than Yuxi Tianyuan. Even if you were running with all your might. But the other party was still far away. And at the same time the other side. The battle between Tanjiro Zaoman and Fulheim. It's still going on now. The granary I have worked hard to build has completely lost. The fallen girl quickly made adjustments. All the clones cut off by Yuxi Tianyuan were directly recalled to their original bodies. These are the ribbons. The reason why 26 flew away by itself. Just as Fulguchi kicked the oncoming Kawaman Tanjiro away, several ribbons flew directly from the air. Then he drilled into the body of the fallen girl. What the hell is going on? Those ribbons are entering her body. This sudden scene before my eyes. He was shocked by Tanjiro Sakaman. He looked at the opposite G with a skeleton on his face. In my heart, I thought. No, is this the part she split out in advance? Now I'm just back in its body. If this is the case, I'm afraid her power will be greatly improved exponentially, right? Thinking about this. In the heart of Tanjiro Zaoman. A hint of anxiety suddenly emerged. After quickly adjusting your breathing, he actually rushed forward on his own initiative. Only. This time. He used the previous God of Fire God again. Swish. The extremely clever flame attack slashed head-on. But then. Tanjiro Kaoru's face. Then he showed a look of extreme surprise. Because. Almost as he swung his sword. The figure of the Fulgami opposite. He actually disappeared from the spot. So fast. Even Tanjiro Zaoman couldn't react at all. Not missing. What the hell is going on? No matter how fast that guy is, he will never disappear without reason. However. Soon the question in Tanjiro Zaoman was answered. The voice of the doji came from the roof on the side. There is pillars here. This time, there is indeed pillars here. It's so great. This time I must kill all of you and make those 250 adults happy again. The fallen girl kept absorbing the energy contained in the colorful ribbons. Your own strength. It's as Tanjiro Kaoru guessed. Becoming stronger and stronger. The appearance has changed to a very evil smell. Tanjiro Kaoru saw this scene in front of him. I was immediately scared to death. Because the fallen girl kept changing her appearance. Even the kind emitted from the body. Very ominous smell. It will make his throat. They all started trembling slightly. Chapter 388 The Power of One Attack. It's obvious. The opponent's strength and strength are all enhanced now. But. What made Tanjiro Sagaman feel a little relieved? Inosuke them. With the protection of Yuxi Tianyuan. Presumably. It shouldn't be so easy to get the opportunity to be caught by the enemy, right? However. It's at this moment. A man in a kimono. He walked out of a shop drunk. Then he pointed his hand at Tanjiro Kaoru, opposite the other side, shouted. Hey, what are you doing? Don't cause trouble at the door of someone else's store. This is the simplest taboo for you guys. You shouldn't even know this, right? I warn you that only when both the shops and customers abide by the rules can this flower street last for a long time. We don't welcome people like you here. Get out of here quickly. Tanjiro Zaoman was able to guess the adverse consequences that would happen next. So he spoke loudly and said. No, don't come here, please leave here as soon as possible. Don't come out of the house. Only. The behavior of this wine man. It was obvious that he had angered the fallen girl on the house. Just between the two of them talking. The fallen girl actually opened her big. Countless ribbons as sharp as sword blades. It was heading straight to the houses in all directions. It was so fierce that it was cut. In an instant. Houses around. And the ground. They all look like mud and paper paste. It was cut neatly in an instant. Be careful, Puff. Although Tanjiro Zaoman tried his best to protect the middle-aged man behind him. But there is no way. His strength is not that strong. After barely blocking the next attack. Only then did he realize that. Your left shoulder. And the man's right arm. All of them were hit just now. Successfully cut. Blood splashed out from the Tanjiro Uexiong in front of the sauceman. And the man he covered. Now, he is curled up on the ground. Covering his broken arm. He cried bitterly. This moment. Only then did Tanjiro Zaoman truly realize it. Between myself and the fallen girl. How big is the gap in strength today? This battle. It has become even more difficult. Ah! What the hell is going on? Why did it suddenly turn out like this? Help! Who will save us? We are being crushed under the ruins. Soon. There were countless panicked screams sounding around. And the screams of pain. Look with your eyes. They are all ruined and terrible scenes. Many people didn't even have time to figure out what was going on. Then he hit the blow just now. He was dismembered. Chapter 389 Unbearable. And those who survived by chance. The vast majority. The limbs such as hands and feet were cut off. He wailed in pain on the ground. Rumble. The house near the street. It was actually under the attack of the fallen G just now. Cut off half directly. And the fallen goddess at this moment. But like a winner. With a look of pride and contempt. I looked at Tanjiro Kawaman, who was constantly flowing blood below. And never look back. Walk from the roof in the other direction. Ugly humans have no value to continue to live. Just let them die in despair like this. 563 and a weak opponent like Tanjiro. She was not interested in staying here to play with him. She is going to find her real goal this time. That is, Sound Pillar Yuxi Tianyuan. However, although Tanjiro Kaoru was seriously injured at this time. But it was like a crazy beast. The eyes were fishy red. Open black lens bracket Holy Virgin close black lens bracket He has a big heart outburst. I can't tolerate what Duji just did. It is impossible to tolerate Ghost's unscrupulous trampling on an indifference to human life. Stop. It's simply unforgivable. Tanjiro Kaoru looked at the fallen girl who was about to go away. Suddenly he shouted. I will never forgive you for doing such a thing. Even Tanjiro's hand holding the knife kept trembling. But the expression on his face. But he became more and more determined. I will not let go of the ghost in front of me. Otherwise, more humans will be harmed. So, no matter what, he couldn't let the Duoji leave so easily today. However, the fallen girl responded to him. But it was still the sneer with disdain on his face. What? You ugly ghost are still talking about what you said. I'm too lazy to pay attention to you, a useless ugly monster. Ugly humans, you have no value in living at all, just go to die together. I don't know if it was attacked by the verbal ones. The attack just now. There are huge safety hazards left in front of Tanjiro U Hungary in the Zaoman. So. Only with such a life and death crisis. Tanjiro Kaoru actually broke out. An unprecedented terrifying power. This battle. It will inevitably become extraordinary. And at such an important moment of life and death. Tanjiro's body. It seems to be energetic. Suddenly the switch was turned on. It became surging. In his mind. I can't help but recall. The one sent to him by Purgatory Shoro a few days Agasome letters. And the content involved in the letter. This is what the letter describes. First of all, I want to apologize to you for crying for that guy Xingqiulang. Chapter 390 Apology Letter. Open black lens bracket Before this, neither Akatsuro nor Chishoro understood me at all close black lens bracket. And what I want to do is actually just to make the child more energetic. Close black lens bracket. When I first met, I made such a rude move. Now I feel really ashamed. Close black lens bracket. And the reason why I became like this now is that disaster never comes alone. When I feel desperate because of my incompetence, it is like adding insult to injury. My most beloved wife also left me because of illness. Since then, I have been in a slump, drinking all day long, trying to degenerate myself with this idea, which now seems to be foolish. However, Akatsuro's boy is different from someone like me. He is an extremely outstanding son. Even after I gave up teaching him, he still taught himself the guidebook of Yanqi breath. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket maybe because his personality is too much like his mother's popularity. Close black lens bracket. Xingqiulang has really trained into the Yenju with his amazing perseverance and tenacious will, and he only relied on those 3 volumes of books. Close black lens bracket. For me, whether it is Shingshoro or Chishoro, they are all extremely outstanding children. Close black lens bracket. And you, the sauceman, have even stronger power. Open black lens bracket. It's just that this powerful power is still being ignored by you for the time being. Close black lens bracket. There was once a legend recorded on the letters of the Yan pillar of all dynasties. Users selected by sun breath will have a natural red mark on their foreheads just like you. Open black lens bracket. So you must be the one who was selected. Close black lens bracket. In the mind of Tanjiro Kaoru. Recalling the contents of the letters sent by Atsushiro's father Purgatory. But he didn't believe what Sholang said first. Because only he himself knows it. The real reason for this trace on his forehead. This scar is not innate. It was his younger brother at first. When you overturn the brazier. In order to protect his younger brother, Tanjiro Kaoru. And burned by the hot kettle. The result. Then, in the final selection. This location. Being hurt again. 0. This is what it is today. Only. His father. But it seems to be at birth. On the forehead. There is that simple mark. But Tanjiro Zaoman is sure. He himself is definitely not a natural owner. So. What Mr. Sholang said. The selected user. It's probably not him. Only. Even so. Even if he is not the one who was chosen. His power. It's not as powerful as the legendary one. He is now. There are also reasons that we must not retreat. Chapter 391 Reasons for not being able to retreat. Because. In this world. There is also a species like ghost that has absolutely no conscience. They can be no matter how time or place. Unreasonable. Ruthlessly take away other people's lives. And I don't feel any regret at all. Instead, I will be proud of it. That kind of arrogant and violent behavior. Tanjiro Kaoru can't forgive him no matter what. I don't know why. In Tanjiro Sagomung's mind. Yi Yu's figure appeared again. He still remembers it clearly. That night was on Nation Spider Mountain. What Yi Yu showed. That extremely powerful terrifying strength. Even Water Pillar Yoshiyuki Temuka and Insect Pillar Butterfly Ninja. The two of them attacked him at the same time. But he still couldn't hurt him at all. Tanjiro Kaoru suddenly thought. If Yi Yu was here now. I am afraid. Facing this ghost of the Wind String Land. It will also be in a flash sale. Let's end this boring battle, right? For Yi Yu. The Tanneru of the Sauceman has always been in his heart. Consider him as his greatest goal in this life. So. At this moment, he must not stop in front of this ghost of the Wind String Land. This is the thought. Tanjiro Zaoman suddenly used the breathing method of Cow of Fire. One breath, one breath. His figure was already out of speed. He raised his hand and grabbed Duji's ankle. Slash the knife. Call. The flames surged out from the dark, sunshine knife. The fallen girl couldn't dodge her. He was shocked by the terrifying fighting spirit that suddenly erupted from the other party. Puff. Caught out of control. Blood splattered. The right leg of the fallen girl. It actually hit Tanjiro Kaoru just now. He was successfully cut down. Hateful. The body of the fallen girl retreated several steps backwards. A look of surprise and shock appeared on his face at first. She seemed a little unbelievable. Just now, Tanjiro Kawaman was like a weak chicken at the slaughter of others. In the blink of an eye. Become so chilling. And. In a moment. She cut off her right foot. However. When the fallen girl came back to her senses. An angry look appeared on his face. As Wind of the String. As the ghost trusted by the Ghost King, Ghost Wuyan. The ghost you appreciate. The fallen girl cannot accept it. I'm actually ugly. A weak little guy. The fact of defeat. Suddenly, the whole person became extremely cruel. However. Opposite the stove. But it seems that 5.6 has entered a state of selflessness. He had an expressionless face. He spoke to the opposite G. The lost life will not return, and people cannot be resurrected. Humans with blood-meat bodies are different from ghosts and cannot recover themselves after being hurt like ghosts. Chapter 392 Ghosts and People. There is no way to have an almost infinite lifespan like Ghost. Their lives are already very hard and sad, but why do you still want to seize them? Why do you still take their lives so ruthlessly? Why do you have to trample on their lives with such a proud attitude? For you, are you really that happy to kill someone? Is it really that interesting 26 inches? What do you bastards treat human life as? Where are interesting and where are funny, what do you think of life as? Why don't you understand? Why should I forget? Tanjiro Kaoru's remarks. He actually stunned the Duoji. And in her mind, a tall figure appeared strangely. The figure of a man with long hair. The powerful pressure on the other party. It made the Duoji feel extremely trembling. Only this trembling feeling. But it was not Duji's own consciousness. But inside him. Those cells originated from Ghost Dance. The memory that comes with it. Who is that hazy figure? It can actually make Guiwu Wusen. All were trembling at it. The Duoji was stunned for a moment. And Tanjiro, the opposite Sosman. But he was still talking to himself. You used to be human too. I have struggled in pain and shed tears, right? Tanjiro Sato tries to convince the other party to give up the killing with a cannon. Only in this way. For the fallen goddess who is Wind String Land. It's almost laughing. Hey, ugly little guy, you're talking non-stop there, it's so noisy. I don't remember what it was like in the past. I am now Ghost. My past memories and experiences have nothing to do with me now. If you want to rely on these words, I will advise me to let you go and live a life haha, I will advise you to give up this heart. I am a powerful, dwindling ghost now, but I won't get old, I don't need to eat with money, I won't get sick, and I won't die 033. No matter how long you live, you will never lose anything with an extremely powerful existence. And I am the one who is both beautiful and powerful. You can do whatever you want, anytime, anywhere, as you wish. A ugly little guy like you actually has the face and is arrogant to me here. You deserve to die. A look of extreme disgust appeared on Duji's face. Even until now. She still hates the title of people. Chapter 393 Use a knife to reason. However, just as the voice of Duoji fell, Tanjiro, opposite the stove. It was already like an arrow from a string. Running towards her quickly. Since it doesn't make sense. Then use the writer knife in his hand to teach the other person to be a human being. Oh, can't you tell that a little guy like you is actually very brave? You dared to attack me first, okay, this time, I will let you understand. Open black lens bracket vampire technique katakana middle dot yashi leaf / close black lens bracket. The fallen girl immediately released 8 ribbons from her body. And directly put the hardness of these ribbons. After being upgraded to a level like steel. From all directions. No blind spots left. Attack Tanjiro, the opposite Sonoman. Its sharpness. The wind-powered ribbon is no less than the Hydran knife. It can be touched at the moment of touching the body. You can cut your opponent into countless pieces directly. Its power. It can even easily cut any blockage on the ground. In front of these ribbons. Even buildings are inseparable. It can be said. This is what the Fulgami masters. Extremely powerful vampire technique. No less than any swordsman. Its speed. It is so fast that people cannot easily capture its movement trajectory. Countless waving ribbons. A huge web of death intertwined in midair. And gradually contracted in the direction where Tanjiro Sakuman was. The smile on the face of the fallen girl. It has begun to become more and more ferocious. In order to dominate the entire Yoshihara Flower Street. And the split ribbon. It's part of her body. And every time I come. Her speed. It's doubled compared to before. And this little devil in front of you. It's just that even if she didn't use virus technique. The released attack. All of them can only barely block the little waist. Facing this move. Don't think about it. It's definitely impossible to take it. So. In the eyes of the fallen goddess. This time. Tanjiro, the Kawaman opposite, is dead. Even the broken knife in his hand. Let's turn into powder together. And her real goal of this trip. It is the pillar-level powerhouse among this group. Battle with Tanjiro. For the fallen goddess. It's just an appetizer before fighting against the pillar-level powerful man, however. Just think that the fallen princess is full of confidence. I think I can rely on this blow. When he directly killed the rushing stove door Tanjilang, abnormal mutations occur. Oops. Open black lens bracket the god of fire, Shenel, and burning bone, and flame sun close black lens bracket. On the high ring knife in the hands of Tanjiro Kaoru in the air. It actually released a vortex-shaped flame slash. Like a new day. In an instant, the ribbon that the fallen G attacked from all directions. Cut them all. Only. The tricks used this time. But it's completely different. Chapter 394, Successive Attacks. This time. On those cut ribbons. There was a huge pain that was extremely piercing. Such pain. Even the fallen girl was a little unbearable. The cut-off ribbons are withered and scattered. It seems like it has been burned. Pain and cannot regenerate. The dojiri immediately looked at Tanjiro, the Kawaman opposite, with a shocked look on his face. This weak guy in front of you. He was obviously injured so seriously. But why? In the blink of an eye. He was able to make such a strong move. His body. It should have collapsed. But he. Why can all the ribbons that are almost used to the extreme can be cut off? 363 It is obvious that these ribbons are more or less. It has been improved. And at this moment, the fingertips of the doji. He trembled uncontrollably. For a moment. Can't tell it. What scares her? It comes from the memory of the ghost dance. It still originated from. She faced Tanjiro, herself. The fear of the god just now. However. Tanjiro, the Kawaman opposite, did not give her too much opportunity to think. He seemed to have forgotten the pain and fear. Just like a walking zombie who performs high killing. Keep approaching. Hydroop knife in your hand. It was even more like being wrapped in flames. Each hit. It is accompanied by raging flames. It's like the sun is growing. No matter speed. Still power. All have improved by several times more than before. For a moment. The fallen girl could only keep dodging backwards. Only. But the more she beat, the more she became more and more frightened. In a trance. The high ring knife in the hands of Tanjiro Kaoru has appeared in front of her neck. Just the moment when my neck was about to be cut off. The fallen girl actually put her neck. Turned into colorful ribbons. With its flexible cushioning force. Removed the force from Tanjiro's knife from the stove. Avoid its edge. Almost escaped. Bastard, how could a guy like you cut off my neck? The fallen girl roared out loudly in anger. However. No matter how you look at it. They all look like incompetent fury struggling with dying struggles. And at this moment. Tanjiro, who has entered the breathing of God of Fire. I also noticed the strange thing coming from the knife. His blade. It failed to really touch the other person's neck. And on the other person's neck. It becomes a ribbon that is flexible and harder than that of Hydran knife. His killing attack just now. It can't even cut the other person's neck. Swish 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 swish. Just as Tanjiro of Sosman hesitated. The opposite of the fallen girl. While his body was constantly retreating. Using the regrown ribbon. A new round of attacks was launched on him. Ugly little guy, I will definitely not let you go. Chapter 395, Ways to Save Your Life. I'm going to use these ribbons to cut you into countless pieces. The fallen girl roared in anger. And the ribbon released from her body. From the previous 8 items. It has become the current 13 items. If you can't dodge it. The opponent's casual blow. Then I will give Tanjiro the sauceman. And the innocent civilians below. Causing an extremely fatal blow. However, at this moment, Tanjiro. But it seems to have entered a very strange state. Even if the other party releases a lot of ribbons. And it's very fast. But in his eyes. But it became clearer. It became slower and slower. Is the ribbon slowing down? Obviously not. But Tanjiro's speed became faster. Swish swish swish. The hydron knife in his hand was spinning rapidly. This powerful force. It even made Tanjiro Zaoman feel like he could catch up with Yu. Bad bastard, hurry up and die for me. I will definitely not do this time, let you cut mine again. The attack just now, you just happened to touch my neck. This time, I want you to die. The fallen girl kept yelling like crazy. And at the same time, still controlling 13 ribbons. Under her command. From all directions. Like a storm. Keep waving. A fierce attack comparable to a slash. Only. A very strange scene appeared again. Tanjiro Kaoru actually used the gap between swinging his knife. Pull one by one. In a few breaths, 13 pieces were placed. The ribbon that attacked him from different angles. All came together in the same direction. And used the hydroop knife in his hand. Put 13 ribbons directly. It pierced deeply into the ground. Then. The moment when the curve between these ribbons and the fallen petals collapsed again. A new round of attacks was launched. Swish. He rushed forward with a fierce figure. Katakana middle dot. Tanjiro Jiro's slash this time came. It's almost faster than ribbon bending. Nani. Until this moment. Only then did the doji realize it clearly. Tanjiro's true intention. This little guy who suddenly became stronger. Seem. I really planned to tighten all these ribbons. It made her unable to bend. Then. He only needs a blink of an eye. You can come to your own face. Cut off her neck. Only. The fallen girl only guessed half of it. And the half he guessed correctly. It's just the beginning. Tanjiro Kaoru was indeed preparing to cut off her neck. Only. He rushed all the way. The sunwheel knife in his hand brought up waves of scorching sun. At the moment when the ribbon is straightened. Then he rushed forward all the way. At the same time. Waving the hydroop knife in your hand. The 13 broken belts released by the fallen goddess. Cut off all the sections. Chapter 396, Hawkeye and the others arrived. And before the Sulian came to his senses completely. The other person's figure. He rushed to her. Hydroop knife in your hand. The flames ignited again. Toward the neck of Soji. He slashed down with a loud bang. Only. At this critical moment. Just as he was about to cut to the neck of the Suli. In Tanjiro Sagamon's mind. But suddenly the figure of his sister appeared. At this moment, she was calling anxiously. Let your brother not forget to resume breathing. There is no doubt. This brother successfully awakened the consciousness of Tanjiro Zaoman in his selfless state. Let him escape from death. Moment. Tanjiro, who woke up from the state of God of Fire. Only then did I remember. Since just now. So I kept holding my breath. Only in this way can more power be burst out in the body. So. Just the moment he resumed his breathing. The power in the body was as surging as a tide. It was like a tide in an instant. Fading away rapidly. Severe physical overdrawal. Make every muscle meet in his body. Every inch of bone. All of them completely stopped at this moment. On the arm holding the knife. An irresistible sense of powerlessness suddenly came. Even keep holding the knife. This is the simplest action. He can no longer last. Dang. The high ring knife in Tanjiro Sato suddenly fell to the ground. And his figure. He also collapsed weakly. Cough 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 cough. Tanjiro Kaoru was lying on the ground. I started to cough constantly. A wisp of blood. From his mouth and nose. It flows slowly out. Humans have several insurmountable limits. Open black lens bracket breath close black lens bracket and open black lens bracket physical strength close black lens bracket. It's the second. However, just as the two were fighting. Two figures. But in the darkness. Silently. Standing at the top of a 3-story building in the distance. Surely it is. Yu sent him to deal with the Hawkeye and Zoro. And in Yuxi Tianyuan's calculations, the two of them are now. It should be about 1.5 days away from Yihara Flower Street. But for some reason. But the two of them exceeded his plan. Before. Arrived directly here. I guess Yuxi Tianyuan could never imagine it. Of the two of them. Zoro with 100% road idiot attribute. In fact, when I was lost. By yourself. Without a guide at all. Be the first to come to Yihara Flower Street. And Hawkeye. 0.0. To find Zoro. Finally, I followed the other party to get here. Only. From the moment the two felt the battle here. I kept watching the show. He did not intend to rescue Tanjiro Kawaman. Originally, the life and death of the members of the ghost-killing team. It has nothing to do with them. Chapter 397 Hawkeye's Observation. Mr. Mihawk, are we going to keep watching like this here? It's better to take action and solve this ghost. Those guys from the ghost-killing team are really hateful. They actually found a guide to take us on a long way, thus wasting so much time. This is clearly not to let us two interfere in this matter. Zoro looked at the battle in the distance. Obviously itchy hands. I want to compete with the opposite side of the fallen GE26. Although fallen is a woman. Obviously not Zoro's dish. But the other party's identity is ghost. If it starts to kill. Zoro obviously would never show mercy. It's okay, Your Majesty. You did not specify a time limit for completing the task this time. Just complete the task of winning ghost. As for whether the ghost-killing team will take action in the end, or whether the two of us take action, it doesn't matter. On the contrary, now is the best time to observe the strength of winning ghost. Hawkeye said with a very calm expression. He didn't even put the fallen goddess on the opposite side of the win the string land. Just take it seriously. But this is normal. After all. As early as Infinite Train. They successfully killed Akaza from Jiaming and Rong. And the current winding ghost. In his eyes. It's just the 6th place in the rankings. So how is that possible? What can attract the attention of Hawkeye? Exclamation mark. Zoro nodded. For him. Thinking has never been his strength. Fight is the case. Immediately. Zoro pointed to Tanjiro, who was lying on the opposite side and said. That kid seemed to suddenly burst out with some kind of power, but this power seemed to last for a very short time. Yeah, that's right. After a little contemplation of Hawkeye. He spoke lightly. That seems to be some kind of physical technique similar to Return of Life in 6 Navy Styles. But, Lord Yu once said that in this world, this ability seems to be called breathing method by the locals. And compared to Return of Life in 6 Navy Styles, the 927 technique of this world is obviously much weaker. And that kid seems to have reached his own physical strength limit in such an explosion. When humans reach this limit, their whole body will become in pain and unable to move. After all, their physique is too weak. Even with the surging anger that seeps blood in your eyes, you temporarily forget the pain and pain. And with the technique of not very profound breathing, the power of life has exploded to the limit that they can bear. Chapter 398 Extreme State. But this kind of explosion is extremely short-lived. If there is a slight mistake in this, and it will be possible that this person will die directly because of excessive overdrawing of his vitality. That kid almost crossed that line just now. I just don't know why he suddenly came to his senses at the moment of life and death, and did not die on the spot. For Hawkeye. This is the extreme state of Tanjiro Zaoman. On the road where he once pursued the limit of Jondao. I've also met it. As a human. If you want to become stronger. In order to extend the threshold of one's own strength. Even for a second. It all costs a lot. And Tanjiro, the opposite sauceman. The respiratory method used. It seems to have. It can allow humans to have a short time. Explode the function of extreme power. Only if it is just based on anger. If you can win the battle. So, in this world, I'm afraid there will be no war or disputes. After all, it's still Tanjiro. No. It should be said that humans in this world are too weak. If compared with pirate world, I am afraid. Even the physical constitution of ordinary civilians. They are all better than the system of ordinary members of their ghost kill team. Much stronger. Hawkeye finally understood at this time why Yi Yu's highest combat power for this world ghost killing team. It's so unopinionable. Only he is now looking forward to it. The ghost swordsman who was mentioned in Yi Yu's mouth was dark and dead. If, as Yi Yu said, the opponent will be one of his good opponents. Yi Yu believed it deeply. Since joining Yi Yu's men, he has seen it with his own eyes. Experience it personally. Yi Yu is very talented in everything. No matter its own strength. It is also a means to govern the empire. All of them made him admire him. This is also a rebellious world number one, the swordsman with Hawkeye. The fundamental reason why it is so easy to surrender. But when I think of it, in this world, there is another ghost king that is likely to be dealt with by His Majesty Yi Yu himself. Hawkeye feels incredible. He basically knew Yi Yu's strength. It can be said to be an invincible existence. Can he take action himself? Then this guy called Guiwuwushao, don't. How powerful is it? But this should be a normal thing, right? After all, this Ghost King has lived for more than 1,000 years. And he also created these powerful 12 ghost moons with his own hands. Is it really exciting? The battle between the strongest and the strongest. The battle between two kings among humans and ghosts. Chapter 399. It's totally useless. Thinking of this, Hawkeye suddenly stopped feeling bored. Instead, he continued to look at the spot with great interest. He started to look. And at this moment, on the battlefield, the Duoji looked at Tanjiro, who had already had a fierce attack. Suddenly I couldn't get up. Coughing in big mouthfuls. It seemed as if I wanted to spit out my lungs. On her face, he immediately showed a proud and vicious grin. With a lofty attitude. Looking down at the Kawaman Tanjiro on the ground, he said, "Humans are really sad. No matter how hard they work, they are just this level after all, they look pitiful." 380. Stupid guy, I really start to sympathize with you now. But it's also difficult to recover from the wound, and it will indeed become what it is now. So is your hard work in return, then this time, I'll cut off your neck. The fallen girl laughed strangely. While preparing to control the ribbon to cut off the opposite Kawaman Tanjiro. However, at this time, Tanjiro Kawaman on the ground. Although very anxious. But he was unable to move at all. Still lying on the ground and coughing non-stop. And his breath. It gradually became extremely difficult. Tanjiro Zaoman is actually very clear in his heart. His physical strength. In fact, it has already exceeded the limit. And now, even if he opened his eyes, you can't see it either. There was only a darkness in front of me. Only by hearing your heartbeat. Let's judge that I'm not dead yet. But his nose. But he keenly smelled the body of the fallen girl. The danger emitting. But the problem is, no matter how he wants to move his body, it's impossible to do it now. Now his limbs and body. Just like steel weighing 1,000 pounds. It seems to be welded directly on the ground. Want to move half a minute. It's impossible to do it at all. It seems that the situation of death is inevitable now. However, just as Fulfilmius raised her palm, when you are preparing to cut off the neck of the Congo Dor Kaniro on the ground directly. In this time when it is unforgettable. A petite figure. But with lightning speed. He jumped in front of the two of them. A sharp kick. It's like a swordsman's slash. It directly hit the head of Duji. Bang. Like a thunderous force. He directly knocked the whole person out of the distance. And her head. In this hit. It was directly rated and exploded. Nezuko was furious. Protected in front of Tanjiro, the sauceman. In her pupils. All were surging anger. Seeing my brother vomiting blood. All over his body. The scene of lying on the ground weakly. It immediately aroused the ferocity in her blood. And it reminded her of it. The scene of the tragic death of parents and family back then. Chapter 400 Wusong's mission. She's angry. She hates. She now wants to protect the brother who has been struggling for her. Even if you lose your humanity. Even if it is destroyed. She don't care. Endless anger. It seemed as if it was about to swallow Miduzi. In her eyes. Subconsciously let out an angry roar. And the opposite fallen girl. But he didn't get shot by Miduzi. And die. He is winding. That is, the blood concentration in her body originated from Guiwuwusan. Before Nezuko. Any ghost I have encountered is much higher. So. After her headless body stood firm again. The head of the fallen girl. It actually started to be visible at a speed that was visible to the eyes. Healed again. Damn it, you, a brave little guy, dare to attack me. Wait a minute, you are you. By the way, it's you, right? You should be the ghost mentioned by the Taoist. The fallen girl who heals her head again. After seeing Miduzi's figure across the street. He suddenly became furious. It seems to be a ghost dance. I used to give her any task. So. After she saw Nezuko's figure across from her. Only then will he become so angry. This is the thing. 2 days ago. The time when Fallen Ji and Gui Wusan met. Guiwu Wusan once gently stroked her head. Said to the fallen goddess. Except for Zushi. In this world. There is actually a ghost. Leaving his domination. Guiwu Wusan needs to let the Duji help him find it out. And kill. And that ghost. Of course it is Miduzi on the opposite side. Because. She was wearing clothes with erect leaves pattern. And a 2-color checkered belt. It looks exactly the same as the girl who passed the Gui Wusan to the Duji. 0. However. But she was not the only one who was angry. The opposite Miduzi. Anger in my heart. It still burned uncontrollably. The blood from ghost dance is miserable. It boiled instantly. No need to start actively. The virus technique in her body. 0. Then he was ready to take his seat. That's right. Perhaps the human body. There are insurmountable limits. But ghost is different. Things that my brother Tanjiro can't do. Now. Let's do it with Miduzi, who is her sister. So. Leave this ghost to me to clean up. That's great, I actually met you here. As you wish, I won't kill you here today. A very ferocious look appeared on Duji's face. For her. This time, the main task is not only to kill Pillar. It's the ghost girl in front of you.